Good evening. This is Dr. Donna Marie, and this is Rise and Repair Repartee. We have another guest. This is Angela Mull. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's with us today to talk a little bit about mental health, getting through not only COVID, the pandemic, social justice, as well as this election coming up in a couple of days. We're going to talk about how we stay balanced during these tumultuous times. Welcome, Angela. Can you say hello and just give us a quick intro of yourself?
Hello, thank you for that lovely introduction, Dr. Donna. Yes, I am a licensed marriage family therapist here in Los Angeles, and also founder of Creating Beautiful Minds Foundation, which we'll talk a little bit about later.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we're all experiencing a lot right now. Stress is a normal psychological physical reaction to many of things in life. And one of the things I always remind people is life is always in session. And what that means, things will come up. We'll have the ebbs and flows of life. But again, right now, as Dr. Donna mentioned, we are in the midst of something that none of us have ever experienced before, this pandemic. The social political climate right now is keeping a lot of us on edge and with lots of feelings, stress, anxiety, and we just need ways to cope. So that is something that I've been helping people get through, including myself, because I'm not immune to any of it.
Okay. Oh, that's good to hear. That's good
Yeah,
to hear. I'm not saying that because I want, misery does not want company, but
right.
it has been stressful. And I'm glad to hear that you, even as a therapist, have experienced it and are having to navigate it yourself. So you not only have the empathy of others, but you also have to be empathetic and kind to yourself. That's
Yes.
wonderful to hear. No, I mean it in a good way, of course.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I received that in a good way. We all have to, during this season, as much as we give grace to others, give it to ourselves.
Hmm.
And that's what I've been doing. And for myself is using the tools. And I always tell my clients is usually nothing that I'm asking you to do that I haven't tried or at least willing to try for
Oh.
myself.
Okay, good, good, because I would like to try a few tools today. So if
Okay.
you could, would you share with us, and I do want to talk about creating beautiful minds, the mental health alliance, and
Mhm.
the practices that your practice, but would you share with us a few tools? I'm very conscious about all of the stress that the eustress as well as the distress. I'm conscious of it. And I'm definitely on phones, on Zoom, on calls with girlfriends, with friends, and we are all in a season of stress. I know you have some tools. Can you share just a few
Yes.
things that would help us be not, I don't want to stuff it in a box. I actually know that the stress is here. How do we move through it in a healthy way and not be a burden to everyone else in our family?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that question. And some of these may sound a really simple, but yet hard to do right now. Again, because we're in the middle of this social political thing. Most recently, the election and the debate last
Days,
night.
yeah. Okay. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Another one. I was like, okay. And then we have an election, November 3rd. We're coming right around the corner. This is
right.
October the 30th. So right around the corner, we have a major election. How do we maintain our own stress? Still be engaged. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
hide under a rock. I want to stay, on the front lines, but also I want to be healthy enough, whatever the outcome, and I'm hoping it's a good one. I am. My hopes are up that it's going to be a good one.
Yes.
Whatever that outcome is, how do we press? What tools do you, I'll say,
Yeah.
suggest?
Well, one thing is remembering that we can only control what we can control, right?
Okay.
So really remembering that, but some of the tools that in that the thing that we can control for this upcoming election is vote. We can do
Okay.
that. We can use
Okay. All
our
right.
voices
Mhm,
and
mhm.
to do that. So one thing that's very important is limiting screen time. Yes, you want to take in information. You want to be informed, like you said. be engaged and know what's happening around you. But just really limiting
Oh,
your screen time, preserving your energy. And then one way to really limit your screen time is really pay attention to social, how much time you're spending on social media, how much of the news, watching TV with the ads, political ads, or things that kind of trigger you. So
mm,
limiting the screen time,
okay.
and that would be my number one suggestion. So don't start your day with that. Most of us in the morning, what we do is either pick up our phones, scroll through and see who text messaged us, social media. Yeah, I'm guilty too sometimes. Um, Looking at our emails and turning on the television, especially since we're working from home. It's easy to do. Just
Yeah.
turn on the television in the morning. So then you're bombarded with whatever transpired about the debate, about COVID,
Yeah.
about economics,
Balance, everything. Like,
everything. So you don't want to start your day with
okay.
that. Yeah. Limiting the screen time for the first, I would say the first 30 minutes in the morning, no screen time.
No
And then
screen.
the same thing at night, 30 minutes before
Okay.
bedtime, no screen time. Just kind of turning it off. No electronics.
Okay. 30-30.
30-30. There you
Okay.
have it.
Okay. But can you go back to the triggers? Because one of the things you said um, the things that trigger you. Can you explain trigger? Like we all use that word, and I'm not sure we all know what that actually
Yeah.
means. What do
A,
you mean? What is a trigger, and what do you
a
mean by that?
trigger, what I mean by trigger is anything that makes you feel uneasy. It can
Any
make you feel uneasy in your body. Your body may react in a certain way, like your body will keep score. Like you may feel like a little tightness in your stomach. You may feel like you're holding your breath and you can't breathe. Or you may even, a trigger may, it can make you cry. It can make you have bad thoughts.
okay.
Yeah.
So when I get that feeling in my gut, okay,
Yeah, that they call
that's a
it the gut
trigger.
feeling. That can be a
That's a
trigger.
trigger.
Yeah.
I need to put that phone down or put
Yeah.
my device down and
Yeah.
go take a deep breath or
Yeah.
do something else. So
Yeah.
what would you
Read a
suggest
book.
I do? Okay, okay. I was gonna say, what would you suggest I do?
Yeah.
Because the news is coming at us sometimes, even if I don't want it to. I
Yeah.
may be literally looking at my Bible app and I'll get an alert, da da da, just did da da da. And I'm like,
Yeah.
takes you off your stomach, your heart starts racing in that moment. How do I get out of that? I'm taking notes because I want to
Okay.
make sure that I I get this. And we're
Yeah.
also putting it in the comments so that folks know, you know, they have the tools and they're ready to help themselves during this season. So
Yeah. So some of the immediate things that you can do to answer your question is to really be careful of alerts on your phone. The ding dings that we hear.
I I moved by dings. I was being honest with you. I'm like, that's why I told my daughter-in-law, she's so sweet to me. I said, can you remove the dings? I can't I don't know. I'm literally, just from being in the school district, I'm moved by bells.
Yeah.
So when there's a bell, I just
That
kind
can
of,
trigger. That's a trigger.
but it
Yeah.
also like,
Yeah.
or something else is happening. Something else is happening. Okay, so okay, I don't
Yeah.
want to make a big deal out of it, but remove all of these notifications, turn them off.
So turning some of the notifications off, like I had a CNN notification. So whenever something was going on, it would ding ding, and I would automatically, that would come across my phone or scroll or the computer. So
Yeah.
removing some of those
Notifications.
alerts that kind of trigger you.
Okay.
Again, we will hear these news
Stories.
alerts multiple times throughout the day
Mhm.
in one way or another,
And
whether
we'll
it's
get the
television.
information. I don't have
You
to have it
Yeah,
24/7 on my
you do
mind right
not.
now, right now. Okay.
You
So,
don't need to have it. Just checking that source for information. Remember, you're taking it
yes,
in as information that you
information.
need. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Okay, information. And the other thing that you said was you do have power over some things.
Yeah.
Voting is one thing you have power over. You can exercise your vote. You can have the liberty of exercising your vote. And that makes you feel like you're not just a victim of circumstance. You have an action that you can do.
Absolutely. And
Oh,
once you've already cast your vote, it is done. So you don't need to go back over all listening to all the ads about because you've already
oh, you can
remember
put it
you put
away. Yeah,
you can
you don't
put
have
it
to go
away.
through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have to listen to the record, the
Yeah.
recap of the one debate
Yeah.
when he said, when he
Absolutely.
mocked, when he did. Oh, okay, I can't go
So you don't have to
there.
keep
Okay,
spiraling with that information.
spiraling out. Yes.
You've done your
Okay.
civic duty.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That was very helpful. No, it's good. Okay, so let's talk about you as I know you're a wonderful advocate, an amazing advocate. Can you talk to a little bit about creating beautiful minds, where what that absolutely what that is, and then also the Mental Health Alliance. Talk to us about those two opportunities, also our advocacy groups that you are a part of and actually founded.
Okay. Well, Creating Beautiful Minds started as a spinoff of sort of my private practice, which is Angela Mull Psychotherapy. That I've been in private practice for about almost 3 years now.
Okay.
And what I decided to do is I wanted to reach more people, more than the individual. I do see couples, families, and individuals, but my heart was so compassionate about meeting the needs of more and help not breaking. I don't like the word break. I want to end it. I want to end the stigma, not break it, because if it's
Mm.
broken, it can be put back together.
Oh, I like
So
that.
I want to end it. I wanted to end um, the stigma of uh, therapy and counseling and mental health, especially in the communities of colors, in the faith-based sector. So I came up with Creating Beautiful Minds. I know we're all born with beautiful minds, but life is always in session, right? So
Okay.
things happen, right? So things happen in life that sometimes we're broken, just broken in different places. And so I wanted to have a safe place, which is Creating Beautiful Minds, where I could give information to faith-based organizations. Thus came out of that the Mental Wellness Alliance. Um,
Okay.
the Mental Wellness Alliance, where I wanted to put together a model for um, faith-based organizations to have the resources and maybe a compassionate care team of whether that's clergy, lay persons, and anyone interested that can support families who may be in crisis um, within
Oh,
the congregation. Yeah, and
okay. You got to go back. Of course, you have to go back. Why do you think, and I'm not sure what this is, but I'll just give you a little, because I talk a lot about myself and I'm trying not to. But I remember when Alex received her diagnosis and they told me not to claim it. Like, as if
yeah,
by my saying autism was affirming it. And I thought, well, isn't he God of everything? And can't he
absolutely.
heal everything? So if I don't say that she has autism, that's not going to help me mentally deal with the fact that something's definitely wrong here. It was almost as if the acknowledgement of something being wrong
Yeah.
was almost correlated with me not having faith. So
Mhm.
it's felt like kind of like the mental health stigma.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to say I'm depressed. We're not allowed to, have the conversation about I'm not feeling well, I'm anxious, whatever I'm going on. What is that? And I'm saying in the church, this is not, and your family has their own
Yeah.
issues, but I'm
Right.
saying in the church, I had quite a bit of pushback about developmental, mental, and emotional stressors that we were going through at the time of diagnosis.
Absolutely. And I grew up in a very religious family where, again, we were taught those things to rebuke. Um,
Mm.
all of those things. And I'm like, while I'm rebuking, I'm still feeling sad, or I'm still feeling, I want,
These
you
tears are
know,
not going away.
they're not going away. This
Yeah,
anxiety, this
yeah,
depression. Yeah.
yes. I'm rebuking. I'm
Yeah.
praying. I'm reading my scripture, and I'm devastated. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we can't have those feelings or emotions in the church, and why aren't we doing more? And I love that's one of the reasons why I love Mental Wellness Alliance, because you're training and you're giving people opportunity to meet the needs of our constituents, or I should say our congregations,
Yeah.
because we are having these feelings, but we're not able to actually say anything because they're saying it's not faith. I'm like, that doesn't correlate to not having faith. Emotions, didn't God give us those?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why it was important to me to psychoeducate the church and the clergy, and people involved within the walls of the church, so they would be on board, and they would, and I would gladly say I serve under a pastor who is really open and really pushes mental wellness. So I'm blessed in that respect, and then we plan to expand and offer this to others. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that that was the way of the church, but I am seeing that a lot of more congregations are open to having their congregants whole and healthy, and that includes mental wellness.
Yeah, it's not going away.
It's
We do
not
need to
going
address
away,
it.
but
It's just like the cancer that you had, or the high blood pressure, or the
yeah,
diabetes. These are bodies, and the mind, the heart,
it's
it's
all connected. It's
yeah.
all gifts from God. And there's so, if we go back in scripture, and I'm not a theologian by all means, but I'm sure if we go back in scripture, we'll see that there were illness, and some of them were, some people saw demons and had dreams, and this, and those were, that could be, if you equate it to some of the diagnosis, and the diagnostic manual, what we call the DSM,
Yeah.
and psychological, you can see some schizophrenia, you can
Yes.
see some bipolar disorder, you can see depression, you can see anxiety, and even there's scripture in the Bible that says anxieties. There's a scripture in Psalms, I believe.
Mhm.
I read it this morning. I believe it was in Psalms 94, where the word actually anxiety was in the Bible.
Mm.
And I think this was the King James version. And I was like, wow. So if we really, and so I believe again, as churches and clergy look at the really, I mean, and I'm sure they've studied the Bible, but really start to think on the end, equate it to mental wellness, and see how it affects people, and more of them will be on board with this Mental Wellness Alliance. So I'm just really excited about really pressing forward with it and educating. So that's one component of the beautiful Creating Beautiful Minds Foundation that I can't wait. I'm excited about kicking off. And then Dr. Donna, when you mentioned your daughter, another thing, I think of blind Bartimaeus in the Bible. That's an illness. It may not be a mental illness, but he was blind, and how he would not let Jesus pass him by. So even I just think of that one that's suffering with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression. Jesus is not going to pass us by. So
Wow.
we have to really be open to serving and helping these families that come, and not shun them or turn them away. And that bare minimum, if you don't have a professional in the church,
Mhm.
um, have some resources, and
Mhm.
have some updated
Yes,
resources.
yes.
One thing that I really leaves a bad feeling to me is when I go somewhere and the resources are all outdated, and you call every number or you email, and it's like
Thing.
they're not in service. So providing the churches with some resource manuals, with people, with professionals that can help, and so
That's
that's part of.
wonderful. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's
Uh,
wonderful. Just the whole package, because it's so necessary. And I get it, the church can't be all, but you can
yeah.
give them access. You can give them access to the resources so that they don't have to feel like we don't have to deny you, we don't have to
Yeah.
deny it, we can tell you we're not maybe equipped for it. We would like to be, but here are some things that you can do. And here's some places, what we've considered some safe places for you to go to
Yeah.
get resources. The other thing is we don't have to act as if it doesn't, it's not there.
Yeah.
I love your analogy. And the other one that I have is, do you remember the boy? I think that he was in the tombs, the one that was hurting himself. And I
Oh,
and I don't know that I remember praying for Alex for a while, and I just remember that scripture kept coming to me. There are
mm,
sometimes children that are hurting themselves and doing things, and you don't quite understand it. They're in
right.
the Bible, and there had to be someone to either lay hands to pray, but they
Hmm.
had to acknowledge that there was something there. And that's what we're saying is, let's acknowledge something is there,
Yeah.
whether we're laying hands in addition to getting support, in addition to
Hmm.
resources, but to not acknowledge the fact that something is wrong is almost like denying the parts of the Bible that
Yeah.
it's like denying taking, it's like it's not a buffet. You have to take the whole thing. It's a dinner.
Mhm.
You don't get to
Yeah.
take the parts that you like because they fit your, you know,
Mm.
theology. That all has to fit. And he's the God
Yeah.
of all. So
Yes.
just want to say that, but
Yeah.
that was very helpful to me for you to give us a little bit more information on that. So I know you do therapy yourself. I wanted to in our time because we literally only had like 3 minutes, but I just wanted to know if you could offer us um, in this time with the election 4 days away, what would you say? I mean, you've told us quite a few things, and I appreciate that. But what would you say to us right now in this season? Other than I know you said you've cast your vote, now you have to release it. You don't have to watch all those ads.
Right.
Is there anything more that you can say to some of us who are really hoping? Um, we've got our hopes really up. I say it all the time. My hopes
Yeah.
are up. Our hopes are up, and help me go through this season. Help me go through the next 4 days. Can you do that in 3 minutes?
Yeah. I would say rest. Give your mind some quiet time.
Mm,
Um,
Angela.
Rest, relax, and recharge.
Oh,
I'll leave you just really with those 3 R's: rest, relax, and recharge. Again, we've cast our votes,
wow. Okay.
we've done our parts.
Mm,
So, quiet time could be, meditation,
okay.
sitting quietly, prayer,
Okay.
and those things will kind of reduce the anxiety.
Okay.
Any anxiety that you might be feeling, just sitting quietly, connecting to your breath,
Yeah.
feeling your breath. And I like to do this little breath exercise where I imagine myself inflating and deflating a balloon, kind of just taking it in, breathing in and blowing it out like taking in the air like you're blowing up the balloon and deflating and really feeling the cavity of your chest rise and fall. And we may have to do that several times up into this election. Like catch your
Okay.
breath. Because we
Okay.
usually the anxiety holds in our chest and you like
Mhm.
on your gut,
And you're back
you feel it in your gut. So if you just take time to relax, recharge,
and breathe it
and
through.
rest.
Okay. That's been helping me. I've been doing these 6 point breaths
Yeah.
and breathe out. But it didn't even occur to me that to rest, you said rest, recharge. I'm sorry, rest, well,
Relax and
relax. And
recharge.
recharge. You've cast your vote. Now let it go.
Yeah.
Ah, my hopes
Yeah.
are up. My hopes are truly up. Thank
Mm,
you. Thank you
mm.
so very much. Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to be looking for you for
Okay.
those that want to connect with Creating Beautiful Minds. I know you also have a Facebook group, the
Yeah.
Mental Wellness Alliance, if they want to get in contact or see some of the resources that you have. So I'm just going to mm, point people in that direction.
Thank you so much, Dr. Donna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. We're keeping our hopes up as we
Yes.
round the corner. The other thing is that life is still going on. Like you said, life is still in session. We don't get to stop. We have to continue to go on, and we will go on even
Yes.
after this coming week. We will go on. So thank you
Yes.
again. And friends, thank you, all of you that have come on to Rise and Repair Repartee with us. We thank you for your support. And also, if you have a need or you have something that you would like to share with us, please reach out to me directly, drdonnamariehunter.com. Or, of course, please, please, please contact us with alliesallies.org if you have children or if you have family members with developmental disability needs or mental health needs. We can point you hopefully in the right direction or point you in a direction for more resources and help. Again, thank you, and we will see you again in November. Okay, have a wonderful weekend, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good weekend. Thank you again, Dr. Donna.
Oh,
Bless you.
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye-bye.